Though green summers fade and winter draw near, my Lord, in your presence I live without fear. Through tempests, through snows, through turbulent tide, the touch of your hand is my strength and my guide. I ask for no riches that death can destroy. I crave only thee, your love and your joy. I ask for no riches that death can destroy. I crave only thee, your love and your joy. The dancers will pass, the singing must end. I welcome the darkness with you for my friend.
I've heard your flute high on the ground, your call I can't resist. Oh, let me come and play with you. We'll scatter music with the dew and sound the morning mist. I've heard you piping on a hill, all else I've set aside. Oh, let us dance the mountain peaks. We'll skip with breezes on the creeks and sow the valleys wide. Your flute has called me to the field. Now I've no place to live. Don't send me back, rejected friend. Whatever high call mine must end. All that I am, I give. I hear your call in every tree, in every flower and stream, and sweetest melody of all, a song that heaven's joy recalls. Here in my heart you sing.
So again, happy Krishna Jayanti to you all. Thank you. It was such a joy to come and see the altar just so beautifully decorated. I assume, Bhaskar, you filmed the altar also? Yeah. Naturally, you can't help. You sort of stop and it just takes your breath away. What's so beautiful is if we have a natural devotion to Krishna, then it's something that can help us very much in the spiritual path. And if we have no connection to Krishna, which isn't so common here, but is possible, and certainly more common in the West or someone raised in a Christian family without a lot of exposure, it's very easy to get to like Krishna when you get to meet him for the first time, because he's so playful, because he loves to laugh, because he's a troublemaker, because in a way he's so human on one level in a sense that we can relate to him, but always coming from a divine place. And in fact, Master said that the relationship between Krishna and Arjuna in a way is the ideal relationship to have with God. Even between the disciple Arjuna and the Guru Krishna, that of friend. And he said it's very sweet even how Arjuna at the end, after the Vishwarupa and seeing Krishna and all this manifested throughout the universe, Arjuna says, okay, it's a bit much. Can you just return to me in the form of my cousin, my friend? That form that I'm so used to. And Krishna came back in that form. But these are among the relationships we can have with God. That's part of the opening prayer. Father, mother, friend, and beloved. And you also can have the role of student and teacher, also master and servant. These are the sort of 6 relationships Master mentioned. And he emphasized the relationship with Divine Mother. But he also said the ideal one, in a way, is with God as friend. Because in friendship, there's no sense of obligation. In every other relationship, there's a little bit of, well, you know, you owe me after all because I didn't ask to be born and here I am, so feed me. And similarly, the other reversal, you can also have a relationship with God as child, which of course is, baby Gopala and all that is so much a focus of that, of part of Krishna's life is that too. And so even with the child, though, you can say, after all, I fed you, who took care of all these things all this time, now you're going to do what I say. And so there's some sense of obligation. And with friend, we come together, or should come together, with a sense of freedom, of free sharing. Now, what's sweet on this path, or the sort of opportunity we have on this path, is that Krishna is a part of our line of gurus as Babaji. And so he very specifically participated in Kriya Yoga coming back into man's general awareness. That Krishna, as Babaji, was meditating or in his cave or somewhere, and Christ appeared to him. And, right like that, and said, what has happened to my religion? Let us bring together East and West, and so on, as many of you know the story. And so, Babaji, Krishna, which is even how we give the prayer, said to Sri Yukteswar, I will send you someone for training to bring this Kriya back to the West, but also again throughout the whole world. So, not in the physical form of Krishna, but the same soul that is Krishna, very much was thinking, okay, and, Bhaskar will be taking Kriya Yoga, let's see, in about 160 years, so we better start, this work going. In other words, he specifically cares about each one of you. In other words, Krishna is not just locked back in time. And he's also not universally present in the abstract. Even a great devotee of Krishna wanted to go deeper, and Krishna said, for that you need a guru. I can inspire you in visions, but I can't be your guru. For that you need to meet someone in person and have that experience. And I can reach you through them. And so similarly, we have to feel that we're very close to Krishna. In fact, Master said that he was Arjuna. He himself, Yogananda, was Arjuna in a previous life. So if you think of it very simply, you have Krishna and Arjuna on the altar. I mean, in this line of gurus, very specifically coming for you. And for the general upliftment of the world, certainly. What's hard for us can be hard, but Babaji couldn't really be Krishna and Yogananda couldn't really be Arjuna because Krishna and Arjuna are too famous. It just couldn't be. If you say it in the West where some people don't even know Krishna or Arjuna, okay, so Krishna is also Babaji, okay. And Yogananda was also his, just there was a guy named Arjuna, oh, fine. William the Conqueror too, okay, sure, why not? Just throw them all in. But similarly, if you were to say something like switching it around and going to England and then saying Yogananda was William the Conqueror, no way. He's too famous. There's no way that he could come back. What to speak of Jesus? So, we'll stop there. But just to say that that's not the way to approach it, really. Because why wouldn't Krishna take an active interest in bringing Kriya back into general understanding? What's difficult for us is we're too close to the beginning of this work. There were lots of people who saw Krishna, saying the Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna and whatever actually outwardly happened. And many people heard the Bhagavad Gita for the first time. Did all of them really understand how much it was going to shape and guide Indian civilization throughout the Dark Ages? Some might have just said, well, that's a nice way of putting things. Wow, you don't have the full impact when it's too close to the beginning. When something has survived for centuries, that's when you really see, okay, that was something. And we've used that and it's helped us. So remember that's true of Master's work. And we have both the privilege and the disadvantage of being so close to the beginning. It really is a privilege. But the disadvantage is in perspective. Sometimes we can take it very lightly and like, oh, well, I'll wear pet and, Bhimana Budali Street and, yeah, fine, it's nice. Not realizing the vast scope of it. When Swamiji asked Master, are you an avatar? Master said it would take such a one to begin a work of this magnitude. And that magnitude we're only beginning to see, and probably it won't even be apparent for a few hundred years or so. And in that time, Master said he'll actually come back and be in the Himalayas, probably with Babaji and maybe even a few of us. But just to say, not so much that we want to feel the grandness of, well, I'm part of a very big work, and, did you know that? Not like that as much. But to realize both the cosmic sense of it, of Krishna saying it's time to come back. One of the main reasons is because of the changing of the yugas, which we've talked enough about. And if that doesn't make sense, talk to us after. Switching from Kali Yuga into Dwapara Yuga, that was the time when Krishna was here last time. The descent of Dwapara into Kali. So don't you think that, when it's time for Kali to go back into Dwapara, he looks at his watch and says, oh, I guess it's time. And here he comes again, though Babaji incarnated earlier in Kali Yuga and has been here the whole time, so it doesn't quite fit. But still, you understand what I mean. Actively sending this message into the world at this same corresponding time. And so also, though, think of it think of it very personally. He knows you want to get free. He knows you want more understanding. You means all of us. He knows you want to feel that joy and bliss in your heart all the time. And so he says, here, take this key. Take this key of Kriya Yoga. Take this teaching of the Masters. Take this whole lifestyle created by Yogananda Ji and by Swami Kriyananda. Take this community, take this divine friendship, and it will take you all the way. So it's in that spirit that we celebrate Krishna today and what is to follow.
So what we'll have is we will have a reading and then a chant, a Krishna chant. And, Ananda has a long history of celebrating Krishna Jayanti, just its whole incarnation since the 60s. Every year we've always celebrated it. And Krishna is a big part of even U.S. culture. It has been for quite a while. It's been interpreted in strange ways at times with just Prabhupada stuff for a while. And but then there's just been deep devotion, and the Indian population has greatly increased in the U.S. now, and so there's a big acknowledgement now, even on calendars and things like that. It's just a given now to include Krishna Jayanti. So it's nothing strange to us. Every time, I used to play my flute a lot in the early days. Every time I played, I always prayed to Babaji. And it was only after a few years that I remembered, oh yeah, Babaji Krishna. And it makes sense, doesn't it? That Krishna would help with instruments and things like that. And so we used to actually in Palo Alto do an all-night Janmastami. And so we're thinking, though, for Shiva Ratri, if there's enough energy for it, we'll do an all-night. So it just depends. If there's enough people saying, yes, I am willing to commit, then we'll think about doing that for it. Of course, that's the tradition. For Janmashtami, I don't think it's that much of a tradition to necessarily stay up all night, is it? No. So we're not today. But there's such a feeling of fun with this celebration. These chants are so enlivened, so full of joy. So let's tune into that as we chant these wonderful chants.